Disasters don't just happen. They're a chain of critical events. Unravel the clues and count down those final seconds from disaster.
Milky Way Galaxy, Planet Earth, North America, the Midwest, Ohio, Greene County, cornfields, 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 Cedarville. Friday, April 4th, 2014. Cedarville University, a small private Baptist college, was putting on a sponsored event for the student body at the Stevens Student Center. It featured inflatables, laser tag, and multiple movie showings, helping motivate students to stay on campus. It seems like there's nothing out of the ordinary, but that couldn't be farther from the truth when you're only seconds from disaster. 9:47 p.m. Andrew's camera runs out of batteries. He retreats to a corner of the lobby to change the batteries. 9:49 p.m. Suddenly, without warning, a giant explosion tears through the upper lobby. Complete pandemonium ensues. Smoke fills the building as students run screaming away from the scene of the disaster. Andrews, who was unable to finish putting the batteries in his camera, flees the scene immediately. 10:02 p.m. The Cedarville Fire Department arrives at the scene. Incredibly, they find that no damage has been done to any of the structures except for minor charring. However, there are two students still unaccounted for. One is Michael Berriman. The other is some unnamed freshman and is therefore considered a lost cause. All in all, there were no fatalities in the explosion. However, 23 people were potentially injured and were taken to the hospital with various ailments including smoke inhalation, kidney stones, hypothermia, and strep throat. It was the worst inflatable explosion disaster in Cedarville history. What exactly happened in this catastrophic failure? Who was responsible? Most importantly, what could have been done differently? When we return to Seconds from Disaster, we begin to dive into these difficult questions where we can only hope for total clarity. The events surrounding the Cedarville inflatable explosion of 2014 are muddled at best. There is no video footage from the event due to Andrew's camera running out of batteries. What exactly could have happened to cause such a forceful explosion to occur? Who could have been the cause of this awful disaster, and why? Dr. Thomas White, the university president, released a few statements shortly afterwards.
It occurred in the upper portion of the Stevens Student Center. During a school-sponsored event, an inflatable laser tag arena exploded for reasons unknown. Smoke filled the building, but miraculously, there was no damage done, and there were no fatalities. We would like to stress that the safety of our students is our first priority, and we will look into this event to find the true cause of the explosion. The incident was not an accident. I promise you that me and somebody are going to have a talk.
Derek Antrikin, a private investigator, was assigned the task of discovering the reason for the explosion of the inflatable. An inflatables expert, he was one of the lead investigators for the Hindenburg accident and has extensive knowledge of inflatable-rated disasters and how they are always seconds from disaster. First, he interviewed Michael Berriman, who was on the scene of the explosion, about the events.
I was standing outside of the laser tag arena, and all of a sudden I heard this whoomph. Next thing I know, I wake up on the first floor of the SSC next to Renova. And so I go over to one of the computers, I log on. Turns out I've missed classes for a whole week, but whatever, I never go to them anyways. But that wasn't really that bad. The only real tragedy is I never got to play laser tag.
Why do you think you were unaffected by the explosion?
I don't know. I guess I'm just that awesome.
Antrikin also interviewed Andrews, the videographer who was just seconds away from capturing footage of the disaster.
What were you doing at the event?
I was just getting some footage for my ethics class. We were trying to gather some data to assess some of the alt-Knights themes, whether or not they were ethical, what type of message they were communicating to campus, stupid stuff like that. I didn't really want to be there. I wanted to film something a little more meaningful, but that's what I was doing. So, and one person mentioned that their training dog was still in there. So one of the student volunteer firemen ran in there to go get the dog. And he came out and he got the dog, and he mentioned he saw some freshmen wandering around, but he didn't think too much of it, so he just grabbed the dog and ran.
Antrokin decided to go to the person who would know the most about the event, Brian Burns.
I want to give you the facts. It's quite simple, really. I was looking over the financial reports and found that the Student Life Division was well over budget, which we usually are. I needed to make changes, but I knew how important alt nights were to the well-being of the university, so I had to make some cuts. I discovered that it was much cheaper to use hydrogen gas to fill the inflatables compared to the normal expensive air. Although the risk for explosion was much higher, I used a balance sheet to help justify the change. I figured that a human life was worth about $200,000. The hydrogen gas addition would save the university that much money, and with the added effect of the fun, I thought it would be essential for what we could provide to students. I assumed that it would be worth risking a life for the fun of the students. Would I do it again? Certainly.
All in all, the findings caused sweeping changes at the university. Burns was disciplined by being required to take professional ethics, a course provided at Cedarville.
I would like to sincerely apologize for the additional amount of homework and reporting that my incident may have caused to you great students of Cedarville University, especially my friends in the engineering department who do more homework than anybody else.